Hello, friends. An argument, straight out of a reality TV show. Donald Trump is a Russian agent, codename Krasnov. He was identified and cultivated as a Russian asset 40 years ago. And if that wasn't enough, Trump has even talked about buying Gaza. But here's the real bombshell. He wants half of Ukraine's resources in exchange for protection, threatening, blackmailing, taking over. This is no ordinary negotiation. Welcome back, everyone. This is Infinity Quest, where we uncover the truth behind global events. February 28, 2025, the White House, a meeting that will change the course of world politics. Donald Trump, Volodymyr Zelensky, a high-stakes encounter, with the world watching live. The White House chefs were setting up food for the guests, but soon, no one would be eating. This wasn't just a diplomatic meeting. This was a showdown. You're gambling with World War III. What happened in that room made history. Because now the global order is shifting. Elon Musk has called for America to leave the United Nations and NATO. The U.S. has already walked away from the WHO and the Paris Climate Agreement. And under Trump, America is getting cozier with its old enemy, Russia. So much so that some are openly calling Trump a Russian agent. What does this mean for the world? Let's break it down. The background: February 24, 2022. Russia invades Ukraine. Some call it war. But in reality, this was a one-sided invasion. Ukraine fought to defend itself. Russia fought to conquer. To justify it, Putin used excuses. NATO expansion is a threat. Ukraine has neo-Nazis. All lies. All propaganda. The real reason? Colonialism. At first, Russian forces advanced rapidly. They took control of Ukraine's northern and eastern regions. But America, Europe, and their allies pushed back. Sanctions were imposed. Weapons were sent. Ukrainian forces fought back hard. And by September 2022, Russia was losing ground. But then, the war stalled. Look at this map. September 2022, Ukraine versus Russia. Today, nothing much has changed. The war has dragged on for 3 years, thousands dead on both sides. Yet neither Ukraine nor Russia has won. America and Europe followed a clear strategy. No direct involvement. No troops on the ground. Just weapons, money, and sanctions. Their stance? Ukraine must win back all its land. No compromises. Then, Trump happened. But let's take a step back. Why is Trump so fixated on Ukraine? It's not just about the war. It's about power, influence, and revenge. Remember 2019, Trump's first impeachment? The scandal started with one phone call. Trump pressured Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden's son, Hunter, in exchange for U.S. military aid. Classic quid pro quo. Zelensky refused, and Trump never forgot. Fast forward to 2025. Now, Trump holds all the cards, and he's ready to play hardball. The White House meeting wasn't just about war. It was about humiliation. Trump saw Zelensky as a pawn, someone who owed him. That's why his demands were so extreme. 50% of Ukraine's resources? That wasn't a deal. It was a power move. And Zelensky? He wasn't playing along. Sources inside the meeting reported something shocking. Trump mocked Zelensky, called him a bad negotiator, told him to act more like Putin. Yes, you heard that right. Trump, an American president, telling Ukraine's leader to learn from a dictator. This wasn't just disrespect. This was deliberate, and it sent a clear message. Trump didn't see Ukraine as an ally. He saw it as a burden. After the meeting, tensions escalated even further. Privately, Zelensky warned European leaders, the U.S. is no longer reliable. Behind closed doors, NATO officials scrambled. If America pulls back support, Ukraine could lose the war. The consequences? A Russian-controlled Ukraine, a divided Europe, the end of NATO as we know it. And yet, Trump didn't stop. Days later, another bombshell, a leaked memo from Trump's administration. It revealed secret plans to cut U.S. aid to Ukraine by 80%, a move that would leave Ukraine defenseless, and just hours after the leak. A surprise announcement from Moscow. Putin offered his own ceasefire deal, one that favored Russia. Coincidence or coordination? At this point, even Trump's allies started to panic. Lindsey Graham warned, "If we abandon Ukraine, we invite another war in Europe." But Trump ignored him. He knew what he was doing. He wasn't just ending a war, he was rearranging global power. So what happens now? A weakened Ukraine, a strengthened Russia, and a world standing on the edge. Because one thing is certain, this is far from over. Trump takes power. During his campaign, Trump made a bold promise: "I will stop the Russia-Ukraine war in one day." Now in office, he's determined to end the war at any cost. So on February 28, 2025, Trump and Zelensky meet. Ukraine says, "We want peace, but we need security. If we stop fighting, what if Russia attacks again?" Trump ignores the question. Instead, he makes an outrageous proposal. "Since the U.S. has given Ukraine so much money and weapons, we want 50% of your natural resources in return." Not a joke. Trump literally demanded half of Ukraine's oil, gas, ports, and infrastructure. This isn't aid. This is economic colonization. The Telegraph calls it modern-day colonialism. The Economist calls it mafia-style protection money. No sane leader would agree to this. Zelensky refused. "I will not sign anything that will burden the next 10 generations of Ukrainians." Trump was furious. He called Zelensky a dictator. On social media, he threatened, "Zelensky better move fast, or he won't have a country left." Despite this, Zelensky went to the White House, a tense live meeting. At first, it was civil. Then, things spiraled out of control. Zelensky brought up a crucial fact. Putin has already violated the ceasefire 25 times. How can we trust him? Trump had no answer. Vice President J.D. Vance tried to smooth things over. "Peace will come through diplomacy." Zelensky fired back, "Diplomacy? Ukraine once had nuclear weapons. We gave them up in 1994 for security guarantees. Russia signed that agreement. Now they've invaded us," Vance snapped. He accused Zelensky of disrespecting Trump. Then Trump himself lashed out, "Don't worry about the U.S., worry about Ukraine. You're gambling with the lives of your own citizens." Like a child, J.D. Vance even asked, "Have you ever thanked the U.S.?" Zelensky had thanked the U.S. at least 10 times in that same meeting. But Trump and Vance weren't listening. They wanted control. They wanted submission. A reporter asked Trump a direct question. What happens if Russia violates the ceasefire? Trump's answer? Nonsense. What if a bomb drops on your head right now? He snapped back. This wasn't diplomacy. This was a circus. Zelensky tried to respond, but Trump dismissed the press. Shortly after, Zelensky was kicked out of the White House. The mineral deal, unfinished. The lavish meal, untouched. After the meeting, Trump ranted on social media. Zelensky insulted America. He can come back only when he's ready for peace. Zelensky clapped back with a sarcastic thank you. European leaders rushed to support him. Meanwhile, Trump had already made his next move. A secret meeting with Russian officials, without inviting Ukraine. Sound familiar? Now many are asking, why is Trump doing this? Some say it's personal. Some say it's treason. There are even whispers that Trump is a Russian asset. Codename, Krasnov. But the real question is, what happens next? Because this is just the beginning. If you want to see more deep dives like this, hit subscribe.